Scrambled and are being launched. So that they can survey the target area, locate where these insurgents have placed themselves on the airfield and have embedded themselves on the airfield. Vehicles move carefully through the grassy area as they make their approach to the target area, the suspected target area. Now, over the course of this demonstration, we're going to be listening in to communication. Freedom 411, India 11 Alpha. And you can tell that is established 1 north. You can tell that is a call from our Griffin. Now, in just a moment, our CF-18 Hornets are going. And they have called in the Hornets to do what we call a show of force pass. This is 15 seconds. If you have your hearing protection, I highly recommend that you put it in right now. That show of force pass, of course, to confuse the enemy with the loud afterburning sound of the Hornets. It's also to let them know that the Hornets do have air superiority over the airspace. Here comes our second Hornet. These three components, of course, being used to provide cover and extra. And right about here, trigger down.
Abbotsford International Air Show.
You can see our Hornets have climbed for some altitude. They're going to provide what's called a CAP, a combat area patrol. They could be called in at any time during this exercise. In the meantime, our ground troops have called in our Griffin helicopters. And on board these Griffin helicopters, 5 Canadian Armed Forces soldiers in each helicopter. You will notice on this combat approach, our Hornets providing the cap, our second Griffin helicopter providing a bit of extra aerial support there as they fly by the target area. And there you see our Griffin helicopter touching down and sliding across the grass in this combat approach. And here comes our Canadian Armed Forces personnel exiting the helicopter as quickly as they possibly can. Now the helicopters are vulnerable, so you notice that these helicopters, they're going to maintain. Here comes our helicopter coming in from the right, providing a little bit of extra aerial support. If you look very closely to the side of the helicopter, you'll notice a side gunner. This is a strafing line by the Griffin helicopter, again to provide extra support for our ground troops. Here's the second strafing run by our Griffin helicopter. Here, folks, that our troops do not advance as one line; they go in area. They're going to take a look at the condition of our enemy fighters here. They will administer any medical care that is needed. But as a result of the great teamwork of our Canadian Armed Forces, working as a team, both on the ground and in the air, these insurgents have been neutralized. The Griffin helicopters have asked for smoke.
15 seconds.
That smoke to earmark their position on the ground so that the helicopters know exactly where to set down in the area. Now you'll notice that our troops are still maintaining a constant guard because they're not necessarily sure that the rest of the area has been secured. But here comes our Griffin helicopters, and in just a moment they're going to settle down onto the ground, and then you'll see our Canadian Armed Forces personnel on the ground running to the helicopters and getting back on board the Griffins. Griffin helicopter, a great utility tactical transport helicopter, as you can see here today, being in service since 1995. Griffin helicopters can also be used for search and rescue missions, surveillance and reconnaissance, as well as Army training, casualty evacuation,
5 seconds right trigger front of you, RTB.
as well as counter-drug operations. Flying our Griffins here today, Captain Woolridge. Born and raised in Wellington, New Zealand, after spending 6 years in the New Zealand Army, he moved to Canada and joined the Canadian Army. 12 years ago, he switched to the RCAF and now flies the Griffin helicopter for 408 Squadron in Edmonton. Captain Woodbridge would like to make a shout out to Nadia, his daughter, and to Tanya. We also want to introduce Corporal Terry Triple B Buchanan, combat engineer who works as a door gunner with 408 Squadron. Also like to introduce Captain Faulkner, the aircraft commander of the 2nd Griffin in the formation. He would like to make a shout out to his son, T.Y., and his grandmother, Melanie.